Hello everyone. Let's get started. First of all, the business valuation, that is the F9 chapter, relates to different methods of how to compute the value of a business. First of all, let's distinguish between two types of companies. One is quoted company and the other is unquoted company. For the quoted companies, there is a takeover bid, and the offer price is an estimated value, that is called the fair value, which is always in excess of the current market price of the shares. Now, coming to the unquoted companies, the company wishes to either go public and then fix the issue of the share price. Other than that, the company goes for a merger, and if not, then we use the company's assets to compute the value of the company. Now, business valuation methods are of three kinds. One is value of the cash flows or earnings under new ownership. Second is the value of the dividends under the existing management, and third is to value the assets. Now, first, let's look at the subdivisions. The asset valuation basis consists of one method, but it has three bases. That is net assets valuation method. It has historical cost basis, it has realizable basis, and it has replacement basis. Then we have income based valuation method. It has PE ratio earnings method, and it has another method called earnings yield valuation method. Then we have cash flow based valuation method. This has three methods according to the book. According to BBP and Kaplan, it has three methods, but dividend valuation model and dividend growth model are almost the same, which is why I did not use the third method, that is dividend growth method. I'll be showing the workings of dividend growth model under this heading only, under the heading of dividend valuation model only. Now next we have is discounted cash flow basis of valuation, which is also called free cash flow method of valuation. So first let's look at net assets valuation method. The summary of balance sheet of company A has been given to us. Non-current assets are land and building for 160,000, plant and machinery for 80,000, motor vehicles for 20,000. Then we have goodwill of 20,000, and then we have current assets comprising of inventory, receivables, short-term investment, and cash. That gives us a total of $160,000 of current assets. Then we have current liabilities of 60, 20, and 20. That makes a total of 1 lakh current liabilities. Then we have loan notes for 60,000. Deferred taxation was mentioned as 10,000. Ordinary shares of $1, that makes $80,000. Reserves were 140,000, and then we have preference shares that are redeemable for 50,000. We need to compute the value of the business using the net assets. Now the format is given: total value of assets minus current liabilities less intangibles. For intangibles, we have this example of goodwill, less non-current liabilities. Then we have net assets value divided by number of ordinary shares, and we'll have value per share. Total value of assets minus current liabilities gave us 340,000. The working has been presented over here: 440,000 minus 1 lakh. Then we have to subtract goodwill, that is 20,000, and then we have to subtract the non-current liabilities, those are 120,000 as mentioned in the question. The net asset value was computed as 2 lakh divided by number of ordinary share. 80,000, we got the value as $2.5 per share. Okay, moving on to the next question that is based on DVM method. The question says that the share capital in issue was 4 million ordinary shares at a par value of 50 cents. Current dividend per share that has just been paid is 24 cents. Dividend for 4 years ago was 15.25 cents. Current equity beta is 0.8, current market return is 15%, and risk-free rate of return is 8%. The requirement is to calculate the market capitalization of the company using DVM. Now, first of all, what is market capitalization and how do we compute it? We compute the market capitalization with the formula current market price per share into number of ordinary shares. Let's move on to the solution. Now the formula that we will be using to compute the current market price is the DVM formula, that is P naught is equals to D1 over KE minus G, where P naught is the current share price, D1 is the next year's dividend, and KE is the cost of equity, whereas G is the growth rate. Now what we need to do is first we need to compute the KE using the CAPM formula, because we are given the market rate of return, the risk-free rate of return, and the beta equity. This bracket is also called the risk premium, just in case if there is a question that does not give you RM and instead they give you the risk premium, then also you can compute the KE using the CAPM formula. KE is 13.6%. Then we need to compute the growth rate. Latest dividend over earliest dividend to the power 1 upon n minus 1 is the formula. 0.24 was our latest dividend. I have converted all of the amounts into dollars. 15.25 was the dividend for 4 years ago. 1 over 4, why? Because 4 years ago we got the dividend as 15.25, but after 4 years we got the dividend as 0.24, so the gap between the periods is of 4 years, which means that the chances of growth would be 4 years only, which is why 1 over 4 minus 1 gives us 12%. Now we need to compute the D1. We have everything that we required in order to compute the P naught except the D1. So let's compute it. First, let's put the values in the formula. Now in order to compute the D1, what I need to do is I need to multiply today's dividend by the growth rate, which means that I need to add the growth rate into today's dividend, and which means that I'll add 112%. Thus, the dividend for next year would be 0.2688, and our P naught would be $16.8. Thus, the total market value or the market capitalization would be 67.2 million. We'll use the other method for DVM. The question says that the share capital is 2 million ordinary shares at par value of $1. Current EPS is 25 cents. Current return earned on assets is 20%, equity beta is 1.1, and market return is 12%, risk-free rate is 5%. We need to calculate the market capitalization using DVM. Now, this question is very different from the previous question. Why? Because in the previous question, we were given data related to the dividend. But in this question, we are only given the EPS and the return on assets. So what we will do is we'll compute the growth rate using the B into R formula, that is return on assets or return on equity into retention ratio. And how do we compute the retention ratio? We compute it from this formula: dividend per share upon EPS. Whatever the answer you get, you subtract it from 1. And just in case the answer is in percentages, you subtract it from 100. Now I am presenting the solution for this question as well. Same formula shall be followed, but the method would be a bit different in computing the growth rate. Let's first compute the growth rate using the B into R formula, where return on asset is 20% and we need to compute the B. How will we compute the B? Our current EPS is 25 cents. Current dividend per share is 18 cents. So moving back to the solution, 18 cents or $0.18 over 0.25, that is our EPS. We'll get a percentage of 75. Subtracting it from the amount of 100, we will get a percentage of 25. That is our retention ratio. What does the retention ratio say? Retention ratio says that this is the amount that is retained by the company and has not been paid out as a dividend to the shareholders. So 25% into 20% would give us a growth rate of 5.6%. Now computing the KE, 5% was our RF, 12% was our RM, into beta equity was 1.1. That would give us 12.7% of KE. So KE is 12.7%, growth is 5.6%, and to compute the D1, currently we have our dividend as 0.18 and the growth rate is 5.6. So either you can compute it in this manner, or you can use the other method, that is 0.18 into 105.6. That would give you a D1 of 0.19008 and your P naught would be 2.67. Now again we have to compute the market capitalization. share price into number of shares, 2.67 into 2 million shares, 5.34 million. And now computing the number of ordinary shares, 10,000 divided by 0.25 gives you 40,000 shares. Okay. Secondly, about the PAT, you can easily compute the PAT by subtracting sales subtracting cost of goods sold from sales, and then subtracting the interest amount and then the tax amount. That would give you profit after tax of 26,000. This would give us an EPS of 0.455, and then all we need to do is multiply, and this would give us a market price per share of 3.8675. Free cash flow method says that sales is 8 lakh, cost of sales is 3 lakh, operating expenses is 1 lakh, and working capital decreased by 50,000, and cash needed for asset replacement was 20,000. Growth rate is 5% while cost of capital was 15%. Tax rate is 30%. Required business value under FCF if operating expenses include depreciation of 40,000. Sales less cost of goods sold and operating expenses, but operating expenses should be excluding depreciation. Why? Because depreciation is a notional cost, because we do not give out an actual cash amount while paying off the expense of depreciation, right? So whatever we include in this format is just related to the amount that we are actually paying in cash or we are receiving in cash. Okay, which is why we are excluding depreciation. Less tax paid. Now, how will we compute this tax paid? Sales less cost of goods sold and operating expense plus depreciation into tax rate, because tax is always computed over the profit amount, right? So we cannot exclude depreciation in this case. And then we will add or less working capital, decrease or increase. If there is a decrease in working capital, we'll add it, and if there is a increase in working capital, we'll subtract it. Why? Because in case of decrease in working capital, we are still receiving the return on working capital, that is, we are recovering the whole amount of working capital, so we add it. But in case of increase in working capital, we are investing the amount, which is why we show it as a decrease. We show it as a cash outflow. Sorry. Less cash needed for asset replacement. This helps us compute the future cash flows or the free cash flows. And then we use the free cash flow amount in computing the company's value, the business's value, through WACC minus G. Now moving on to the question. If you see that the sales were 8 lakh, let's fill it right next to this. 8 lakh is our sales. Our cost of sales is 3 lakh, and our um, depreciation is 40,000, as the requirement says that FCF includes the operating expenses include the depreciation of 40,000, so we need to exclude it. So this is going to give us a amount of 360,000, and then we have to compute the tax paid. How did I compute it? 8 lakh minus 360,000 plus 40,000 into 30%. The working capital decrease was already mentioned as 50,000, and the cash needed for asset replacement was 20,000. Now, why am I subtracting the cash needed for asset replacement? Because this is an investment, right? So this would give us 350,000 of FCF, and then this amount must be included in the formula to compute the business's value. 350,000 into 1 plus 5%, as the growth rate is 5% and the cost of capital is 15%. So divided by 15% in minus 5% would give us 367,500. Divided by 10% would give me 367,500. Now, the question says that the recent financial information relating to closed company or stock market listed company is as follows. They have given us the profit after tax, they have given us the dividends, and they have given us the balance sheet format. Um, Now, it says that financial analysts have forecasted that the dividends of closed company will grow in the future at a rate of 4% per year. This is slightly less than the forecast growth rate of the profit after tax earnings of the company, which is 5% per year. The finance director of closed company thinks that considering the risk associated with expected earnings growth and earnings yield of 11% per year can be used for valuation purposes. They have given us the cost of equity as 10% per year, the before tax cost of debt as 7% per year. The 8% bonds will be redeemed at nominal value in 6 years' time, and the tax rate is 30% per year. The ex dividend share price of the company is 8.5 per share. There are no intangibles, so that would be 0. There is no, we do have non-current liabilities, that is of 160. 490 is the net asset valuation. Number of ordinary shares are 80 million. That would give us a value per share of $6.125. Moving on to the DVM method, P naught is equals to D1 over KE minus G, where we have to compute the growth rate. Just a minute, or I guess the growth rate is already given to us. Um, yeah, the growth rate is given to us as 4%. So all we need to do is multiply it by the dividend, and even the cost of equity was given. So our P naught would be $8.67. Now total market capitalization would be 8.67 into 80 million shares. That would give us 693.3 million. Moving on to the earnings yield method. Earnings yield, EPS over market price per share. Market price per share would be equals to EPS over earnings yield, where you already know how to compute the EPS, and the earnings yield is already mentioned in the question as 11% per year. So all we need to do is compute the EPS, because EPS is not given to us. So the market price per share is 7.56, and total market capitalization would be 7.56 into 80 million shares. That is 605.45.